Hey guys, welcome back to the Second Time Lucky Mining channel. In today's quick video, we are going to have a look at the mining statistics for the month of November. Yes, can you believe it? November is already done and we are going into the last month of 2022. Now, if you like the GPU content, please like the video and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. That will help me out a great deal. But enough of shilling my channel, let's jump into the content. Now, for all of the new guys to the channel and all of the other ones, welcome. What I tend to do in this video, I tend to do monthly, and what I like to have a look at is the mining statistics for the previous month. And in this month's case, it is November. Now, if you're keen or you've been watching the channel, you would have noticed I didn't make a video last month. And the big reason for that is I didn't find it really interesting in the data. I still recorded the data, but I didn't do a video. Now, in the month of November, this month I want to make a video because there's a lot of stuff that's happened in the last while. There was bankruptcies in the crypto space. There's new miner releases and mining software releases that's made a big impact into what people are doing. There was new GPU releases. So there's a lot of action in the month of November, and looking at the statistics, I can gauge, what is going on and what is all the other miners doing specifically in this space. And hence, here I am recording or making a video on the GPU statistics for the month of November. Now, before we jump into the data, I wanted to get the disclaimers out of the way. Now, we will be using the HiveOS statistics. And again, this will be data for people that's currently mining and people that is using HiveOS. Now, obviously, that is not perfect and no statistic is perfect. So we will be excluding or data that we won't be seeing as anybody that uses another mining software. Good examples of that is people mining with Windows. I don't know who those people are and they must be nuts. or I don't say that. I mine with Windows for a long time, but yeah, once you start with HiveOS, you tend to not look back. But anyway, so anybody using HiveOS or any other Linux-based mining software, something like SMOS or any of the other mining softwares, we won't be able to see their data. So it's really specifically to people using specifically HiveOS. But again, it paints a picture of what people are using. So again, it's not perfect, but it gives us a good idea around what people are doing that's currently mining, what GPUs are they using, what brands are they using, what's coins, those type of things. But enough of me talking about it and talking about all the disclaimers. Let's jump on the computer and have a look at the statistics.
Okay, so here we go. I've got the HiveOS statistics page open. And again, I'll leave a link in the video description in case you wanted to go and have a look at this data throughout the month. Now, looking and starting with what are people actually mining, and the coin section here, you can see that Ethereum Classic is the most popular coin at 30%, followed by Casper, and this has been the big change at 18%, but I'll open up my change tracker just now, followed by Ravencoin at 9% and Ergo at 4%. Now, what I find interesting, and this has been a trend actually, is something that I like, is Flux here at 2%, but which is fine. Now, let's have a look at the actual changes around, how has the actual coins moved. Now for that, I've got my actual tracker sheet here, and let me see if I can make it a little bit bigger, and I'll make it 125% so you can see a little bit better. So here you can see since I've started tracking the data, which was end of April, and we are now in November. Now the biggest change from the previous month here has been Casper. So you can clearly see here, there's a lot of people on Casper at the moment. So the big change in 13% with the previous month. Now, what you will find interesting is this is not new. Now, what happened at the end of September, there was a lot of people all of a sudden mining Casper, and that's when the price spiked for the first time. So if you have a look at the price chart, you would notice that Casper has now spiked twice. Now, the first time the hash rate jumped to it, and then gradually, as you can see here, it dropped off to about 5% at the end of October, and now all of a sudden it's 18%. So that has been the big change in November. Casper is typically profitable now for people that's not got the most expensive electricity rate and potentially one of those efficient cards. Now, what I did notice is, if you're running 6 AMD cards or 3070s, go and have a look at Kiwi Miner. I think RPM or Red Panda Mining also did a video on that. So if you wanted to have a look at the efficiency settings and why people are mining it, go and have a look at those two guys' channel. Now, as you can see here, the big green section on Casper is 13%, but there's obviously losers out, right? And the biggest losers, according to this, has been a little bit Ethereum Classic, but not that much. But the biggest losers is obviously Ravencoin here, followed by ETHW. And again, this is not surprising to me. I don't know who is mining this. It seems like a little bit of a scam for me. But anyway, Ethereum proof of work has also gone down. A little bit of Flux, it was also a bit of a loser here. But you can see Ergo also came down a little bit. So a lot of people switched off of anything else and move specifically to Casper. Now, something that I'm tracking here at the bottom, new this month, is Radiant. I just wanted to have a look and see how the spec mining is specifically going for that coin. But as you guys can see here, there's still a lot of people on Ethereum Classic, but Casper is now the hot thing that everybody is trying to get as much as possible. Now, looking at the next metric that I track, and that is the GPU brand. So if I just jump back to HiveOS and if I scroll a little bit down, you would see here the market share between the two biggest brands here, Nvidia and AMD. And as you can see, Nvidia still is the most popular GPU brand, followed by AMD. I don't see Intel here just yet, so that tells me there is not a lot of Intel miners, and that might be drivers specifically in HiveOS or in Linux that is not supported. But hopefully soon in the future we would see some Intel GPUs popping up here. But looking at the actual changes, now if I jump back to my change tracker here, you can see that Nvidia has gained about a 2% market share. And, you know, to be honest, the 60-40 and around the 60-40 range has been what it's been since I started tracking it. So it's not super exciting. It is what it is. 60-40 is a generalization of the split between Nvidia and AMD. And I don't find it that odd. You know, I love AMD GPUs, but, you know, Nvidia GPUs tend to be a little bit more flexible, but again, that's just my opinion. Now, next up, let's have a look at the GPU models, and let's start with the Nvidia GPU. So if I jump back to the HiveOS statistics and just go a little bit up, and as you can see here, surprise, surprise, in the Nvidia stable, the 3070 is still the most popular GPU, followed by the 1660 Super and the 3060 Ti, followed by a 2060 Super. So, you know, nothing really has changed on the model front. And if I just flick back to my change on my change tracker here, generally it's been green. You know, there hasn't been big swaps around. So as I mentioned a couple of months ago, we saw the 3070 passing for the first time, the 1660 Super. And again, that's just potentially the 1660 Super is becoming a little bit old. But what I added here just for fun is the 3070 Ti and the 3090, just to see if people are picking up some of those. But you know, nothing really interesting in the Nvidia GPU front. The most efficient GPUs is the ones on the top, and that makes the most sense specifically for me. Now, what I did find interesting was on the AMD side. So if I just jump back to the HiveOS statistics here, and as you can see, the legend, the GOAT for GPU mining, or at least the GPU that, at least in my opinion, is the GOAT for mining, is the RX 580 8GB. And here you can see it's still 27% of the people are using that. But that has dwindled down slowly. As you can see, the next one is the 570, followed by the 5700 XT, the 6600 XT, well, the non-XT version of that, and then the 6700 XT just below that. So as you can see here, that's really what it is on the AMD front. Now, having a look at the changes though, so if I just jump back to my change tracker here and just scroll a little bit down so we can see nicely, the big moves is slowly but surely people are switching off the 580. So you can see the biggest change has specifically been in that front, and people are swapping them out for 6600s without the XT. So again, makes total sense for me. People are going for the more efficient cards, and this 6600 is super efficient. So it's great to see that, you know, people are slowly retiring the 580 and moving over to the most efficient GPUs. Now, the last thing that we're going to have a look at is the actual mining software. And let me just flick back to HiveOS statistics and scroll a little bit down. And as you can see here, looking at the mining software, the most popular miner is LOL, followed by Team Red Miner, and then T-Rex Miner. Now, what you'll find interesting is when I have a look at the actual changes And if I just flick back to my change tracker here, what you will see clearly is there's been a big shift for people moving to LOL miner, which I'm not finding odd at all. And again, I follow the market a little bit closely, but the recent improvements in both flux mining and also the efficiency that you can now get with Casper has seen a lot of people now starting to use LOL miner. Now, again, as I mentioned earlier, if you're unsure about the efficiency and how you should tune your GPU, go and check Kiwi Miner and specifically RPM or Red Panda Mining. He also did a video on it, so you can have a look at that and see why there's so many people on LOL Miner. The other big change that we saw is specifically on BZ Miner, and again with the Casper profitability and price pump, that's not surprising to me. I think BZ Miner was one of the first miners that supported mining Casper specifically. So, the mining software is really, at least in my opinion, is Casper related. So people jumping onto things that is more efficient, specifically on Casper. And the biggest losers, unfortunately, if there's a gainer, there is a loser in this space here. And the losers has been T-Rex, NB Miner, Phoenix Miner, and then G Miner has been the biggest losers specifically in this space. But again, the mining software changes very frequently, and there's a lot of people that make exceptional videos specifically covering the efficiencies and settings and stuff to use. So go in and check those guys' channels out.
That's it for this video, guys. If you've liked the video, please like it and maybe consider subscribing to the channel. If you didn't, please specify in the comments what you would like me to change. Otherwise, I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.